So the thing about Gerald Givens is he has the ability to make you just feel like you are on top of the world, even at him on a Saturday morning. And again, I know Gerald told me not to worry about wearing a suit, but he knows my philosophy. I do not meet new individuals unless I am suit and tied up every single time. And of course, my philosophy, I never get a second chance to make a first impression, but it's definitely great to be here with you all. And just a little bit about my background. I know Gerald has told you everything, but I am a young lobbyist in the state of North Carolina. I represent private corporations, basically. Pretty sure everybody knows who these guys are. I represent the sports betting industry. So FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, Fanatics, Caesars, all those guys that are trying to get sports betting in the state of North Carolina are all my clients. We have done some really good stuff this year. Of course, we got our bill passed. We were able to, and by our projection, we think this bill is going to generate at least maybe 100 million for the state of North Carolina, at least 1.8 million for every public institution, their athletic departments, $10,000 to every county regarding their youth sports programs. And other than that, I'm just very pleased to be able to do what I do. And I take pride in what I do because I am a first generation college kid, and God has opened up doors I never thought were even possible or even knew what they meant at some point in my life. And I'm able to give the knowledge that I have to individuals that don't do what I do every single day. Yesterday, I was on a panel discussion all day long for the HBCUs in the state of North Carolina, and I have the blessing and the privilege to be able to teach it every single day. So that's really about me. And a lot of times I just like to be able to share opportunities with others. And I know Dr. Givens had texted me and wanted me to make sure I emphasize everything that I have done with the HBCUs and community colleges. So one of the things that in my previous role, what I did was the community colleges was one of my clients. They will always have scholarships and opportunities for students, but of course, you got to make it known to everybody because not everybody is located right here in Raleigh. So we would have to do a lot of public affairs, coalition building, not community, but communication strategies around that effort to just try to create opportunities for everybody. And with the HBCUs, I was with them all yesterday. We are all just looking at what can we do to ensure that those that are enrolled in HBCUs do accept and get a full opportunities. How can we increase their funding? How can we make a significant impact? And for me, being a graduate of an HBCU, I can attest to the impact that it made in my life because of the fact that my parents were correctional officers and they recently retired. And they have not been able to do some of the things that I've been able to do, but my HBCU prepared me for that. And now at the tender age of 30 with 10 years of experience in government and politics. I just want to be able to just spread the knowledge and just give back. And that's really it about me. And Dr. Gibbs, I'm always happy to answer questions and talk about things. And you're muted, good brother.
Absolutely. So, D, talk a little bit more about the work that you've been doing with community partners and dealing with the community colleges.
Yeah, so what's basically been happening with the community college, um, it's called the North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority. And what has been going on is basically there is a pot of money because it's about that time for everybody to start deciding where they want to go. We all understand that everybody may not go to a 4-year institution. We understand that individuals may not have the funds for one reason or another, or college may just not be for them. And the philosophy that I say in every panel discussion I have is college may not be for you, but education is for you. So we are working to try to establish opportunities for individuals to understand that going to a community college is fine and acceptable. It's not a second rate type of thing. We're giving opportunities for people to go not at a significantly reduced rate. And of course, with all the scholarships and everything that are available now that we're in the winter/spring semester prior to the fall season, that is starting to happen as well. And what we're doing now is basically just a broad outreach to everybody, just to reach out to different organizations to say, hey, could you make social media posts? Can you, give us opportunities just to be in front of individuals to get people these opportunities? And, basically just doing a communications campaign is basically what it is.
And also, Demetrius, go ahead and talk to us a little bit more about your experience in dealing with the state legislature.
Yeah. So I have been involved with politics since I was 20 years old. I have seen the fun sides of it all. I have seen the not so fun, the 20-hour days, all those things together. So for me, my role I went from an intern directly to a lobbyist. So I've always represented private corporations, except for maybe 2 years where I worked with the North Carolina League of Municipalities. In that role, I represent the cities and towns of the state of North Carolina. What I find myself being able to do is to navigate the political trails to try to get rid of some of the partisanship and polarization that we see a lot of. You hear a lot of people saying, don't work with Democrats, don't work with Republicans. I work with everybody, which has greatly influenced my ability to be successful in this role. Because I view that we may not agree on a certain issue, but we can definitely at least have a conversation like two human beings about the issue, and we may not agree on it, but we can definitely find a common ground. So of course now I represent the sports betting industry, but I have done things in transportation with RDU, with the food processing industry with Smithfield Foods, education, of course, with the community college system as well. And for those who have went to college and recently and done everything with Blackboard, the company that actually created Blackboard, they were actually a client of mine as well. They're called Lucian. And what that role now is, in addition to representing the interests of my clients, whenever somebody needs something done, like yesterday with the HBCUs, they were asking, how do we go about doing this? I'm able to give them strategies on what the best practices are and on how to actually do successful advocacy, how to be a successful lobbyist, helping them understand the traits and trails of what's in the legislature that a textbook won't tell you, the do's and don'ts, and just basically how to get this thing done, because there's not a one size fits all type of approach, and depending on your legislature, depending on the subject, there's a bunch of different ways that we can do that, but I find enjoyment in finding ways to do it.
D, if you could take the next couple of minutes as you get ready to close out, if you could just talk about why the importance of the HBCU experience, why is it so important?
Yeah, and honestly, thanks for asking that, Gerald. This is a question I get asked all the time, and a lot of the legislators down there did not have any experience at all with HBCUs, still don't. But I could tell them my personal story, and that is what made the biggest difference and made them understand it. Of course, my parents were correctional officers. I was raised in an area where we did not even have very good phone service, and broadband was unheard of. So of course, I did not know what I could be until I went to my HBCU. My father had a heart attack when I was 8th grade, so praise the Lord, he's still with us, but he did have to retire on disability. So our household did not have a lot of money when I was, by the time I was trying to graduate. But my HBCU gave me an opportunity without breaking the bank. What I was so blessed and fortunate to be able to do, I was able to go to Elizabeth City State University for free, major in political science. And from there, I was able to go to NC State, and I was able to go to UNCG for my master's as well. So my HBCU gave me the tools that I needed to, and it was a small enough classroom where I could have an intimate conversation with my professors. My largest class was maybe 15 people, and we had a lot of organizations that could help us guide along that professional development. So it's kind of sort of like my HBCU, what it did for me, it empowered me to see what I could be. It gave me the knowledge and the ability to, one, not sell my soul for any corporate matters, to remain true to myself, to teach me how to basically just be a minority and navigate the path that I was going to be on in the state of North Carolina, because again, a lot of times that's not taught, and that sometimes can lead to struggles in the professional realm. And also my HBCU basically just gave me that opportunity. Yes, I could have went to or tried to go to NC State or wherever, but it's the ability to be in a smaller classroom. It's the ability to have professors that actually have experienced what I was going to be able to go through. And it's the ability to say, I was there, I lived the life. We all talk about the HBCU experience, and I hope Gerald will take you guys to a North Carolina Central game or wherever that he decides that he wants to go to. But it's an experience like no other, because you're surrounded by individuals that just want to see you be great. And I see we have a couple of reverends up here. So, of course, it's biblically stated that iron sharpens iron. So every person that I was surrounded by, including my advisors, my professors, my colleagues, even my fraternity brothers, all of us had a civic duty to keep each other sharp, to keep each other from falling in the trap, being distracted, and basically just to push each other to be successful Black men and women in the society. And with the emerging issues that we're having in North Carolina, like I talked about yesterday, we were about to have a shortage of, I want to say, 20,000 nurses, 10,000 pilots, a whole lot of workforce shortage. Like I tell my legislators, we should not have these issues because Winston-Salem State University and so many other schools specialize in these issues, and they produce the highest number of nurses. Elizabeth City has a dynamic aviation program and produces pilots. Two of my brothers are pilots. They work with FAA and they work with Airbus, and it's awesome. And A&T produced the highest number of engineers in the country. We should not, these issues are going to be prevalent in the state of North Carolina, but we already have the infrastructure in place. And North Carolina has the second highest concentration of HBCUs in the country, actually, which is definitely a point of pride to be taken advantage of. And some of these issues that we experience today in our communities should not be existing, because if you give a person an education and a job, when you know better, you do better. And when you have a job that you don't want to lose, you act different. So those are the things that we talk about. And I take pride in my HBCU because I know what it did for me as a small country boy. Because I promise you, the only time I saw a person in a suit was on Sunday morning in church. But now here I am. I have more suits in my closet than I do regular clothes. And, it's being able to learn how to tie ties, how to conduct myself in business settings. All of that came from my HBCU. And those are things that a textbook just can't teach you.
Dean, thank you so very much for your presentation. I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to questions.